Hey, what's up, everybody? Another great episode of Fourth Person Point of View, baby. And today's episode is kind of sad. Sad for high schools across the United States of America. There's always somebody shooting up a school or something. And today, unfortunately, there's another sad situation, and it's not a school shooting, it's a school stabbing. So, anytime something happens to our youth, that's always a sad day for America as a whole because we need all of our youth to be uh, outstanding citizens. We need them to be the future leaders for our country. So I got an article off CNN, which is a 3-minute read, so I'm gonna read it for you. So it says Hunter Metcalf said he always looked up to his brother, twin brother Austin, who was born just 4 minutes before him. As a linebacker, he was a stud, and I always tried to fill those shoes and play with him. Hunter Metcalf told CNN affiliate WFAA, I had a blast my whole life playing sports with him. That bond remained unshakable until the moment Austin Metcalf took his last breath after being stabbed by another student during a high school track meet Wednesday in Frisco, Texas, about 30 miles north of Dallas. Metcalf told WFAA he tried to save his brother's life by stopping him from bleeding out. He said he held him until first responders arrived on the scene and attempted resuscitation. I tried to whip around as fast as I could, Metcalf said. I looked at my brother and I'm not going to talk about the rest. I tried to help him. First responders administered life-saving measures, including CPR and giving blood, but were unable to save Austin Metcalf, who died at the scene, Frisco police said in a news release. In that moment, Metcalf had lost his twin brother and role model, and the Frisco school community had lost a standout athlete with a promising future. Police say the 17-year-old student at Frisco's Memorial High School was stabbed after an altercation with a student from another school district. Karmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old student at Centennial High School, has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder, police say. His bond was set at $1 million, court records show. Anthony is being held at the Collin County Jail. Derek Walpole, the attorney representing Anthony, declined to comment Friday. Andrew Anthony, Carmelo's father, declined to be interviewed when reached by phone on Friday afternoon. According to an arrest report, Anthony said, I was protecting myself when he was approached by a school resource officer near the scene of the stabbing. A witness told police the altercation started when Austin Metcalf told Anthony to move out from under the Memorial High School team's tent, according to the arrest report. It was raining during the track meet and athletes were taking shelter, the arrest report said. A back and forth argument between the two teams then escalated. Austin Metcalf touched Anthony, who had just told him, touch me and see what happens, while reaching inside his bag, according to the arrest report. After Metcalf later grabbed Anthony to tell him to move again, Anthony pulled out what the witness recalled as a black knife, stabbed Metcalf once in the chest, and ran off, the arrest report says. The knife was later found in the bleachers. That's crazy. So, I read this and I read two or three other articles online. I even watched a YouTube video. So this being fourth person perspective, we always delve into things to see what's really going on because everything that's reported on the surface will not give you a complete summary of what happened. Now, if you're paying attention to my screen here, this is the UIL District 11-5A track meet at Kendall Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Now, if you remember, I just read it said it was raining during the track meet and athletes were taking shelter, the arrest report said. And if you look right here, you see a little bit of water on the track. You see water right here, a little bit there. You see water there in the bleachers. You see water out here on the track. That's very important so we can paint a picture of what actually happened. So, based off what I put together from me reading this and reading a few other articles, Karmelo Anthony was from a different school. I'm assuming he was an athlete that was at the track meet to participate, or he might have been there to support his school. So basically, what happened, it started raining, and Karmelo Anthony was seeking shelter under the tent. And then Austin Metcalf, who was a linebacker for his school's football team, told Anthony basically to get from under the tent because the tent belonged to his school. And Anthony told Austin, "Hey, don't put your hands on me." And when Austin put his hands on Karmelo Anthony, he stabbed him. Now, the jacked up thing about this is they're two students. They're both 17 years old. That is Karmelo Anthony right there. He's a 17-year-old student. And this here is the guy that was grabbing Karmelo Anthony to remove him physically from under the tent. And this is the one who was stabbed in the chest. Now, the bad thing about this right here is these are two 17-year-old kids. And they both probably had futures. I mean, they're athletes. I'm assuming Karmelo was an athlete. I couldn't find any confirmation. Excuse me. But he was at the track meet. Now, Austin here on the right side was the linebacker for his high school football team. So he was a nice little, you know, stocky boy. In order to play linebacker, you usually have a little bit of muscle and ass under you. The bad thing about this situation, outside of them being two 17-year-old young boys, is they're students. Now, this situation had happened in the adult world with two grown men, say in their 30s, and they were at a some type of event that allowed you to carry knives or concealed handguns. It would be completely different. Now, the fact that it's at a school, I'm not an attorney, but that's where a good attorney is going to come in on both sides. Because you would ask yourself, what in the hell did Karmelo Anthony have a damn knife for? He was a student. Why do you have a knife at a track meet, boy? On the other side, you take Austin Metcalf here. You ask Austin, who the hell are you to put your hands on somebody and remove them from a damn tent while it's raining? That was not Austin's responsibility. Austin was a student just like Anthony. What should have happened is Karmelo Anthony, who was under Austin Metcalf's team tent, he should have been corrected by a teacher or the coach, not Austin Metcalf's ass. So both of them were in the wrong. And like I said, Austin Metcalf he's not the track coach, and he is not a teacher. He is not the principal. He's not even even a member of the faculty or the staff at this facility. So it wasn't his responsibility to manhandle and bully this boy. He should have went and said, "I'll tell you what, you sit there, let me go get my coach or my teacher or some authoritative figure so they can tell you to move." You don't take matters into your own hands. And that's where this thing went sour. Now, Carmelo told Metcalf, "Do not put your hands on me." According to this report right here, it says Carmelo Anthony told Metcalf, who had just touched him. It says Metcalf just touched Carmelo Anthony one time. So Carmelo tells him, touch me and see what happens, while reaching inside of his bag, according to the arrest report. So Metcalf later grabbed Anthony, see, to tell him to move again. You don't have to grab a person to tell them to move. That's not how that works. I can tell you to move out the way verbally. I don't have to put my hands on you. That's called assault. That's bullying. That's what Metcalf's ass should have went and got his teacher or his coach and said, hey, this student from Centennial High School is sitting under our tent trying to get out of the rain, and we don't want him over here for whatever reason. That would have been the proper thing to do. And then my next question would be, where was the track coach? Where was the teachers? Where was Carmelo Anthony's teacher or track coach, or did they have ushers? Did they have ushers at these track meets? Excuse me, my mouth's dry. But that's not the way to handle this. So this is a bad thing for both of these young men. I can't wait to hear this from an attorney's perspective. Because, like I said, if this same situation right here was between two grown men, 35 to 45 years old, at a place where uh, knives are accepted, because I think you can carry a knife long as the blade is not longer than a certain amount of inches. I think it's either 3 or 5, might be even up to 6. So most men carry pocket knives for protection, and a knife is kind of one of those things that you can keep handy just to peel an apple, skin a deer, clean fish. It's this is the South, so carrying knives are normal. Now I understand that a teenager is not supposed to carry a knife at school. At least uh I don't think there's any law that would allow a child to carry a knife even at a track meet. I mean, at least it wasn't like that when I was in school. Now, so I think this is going to go deeper into uh school policy instead of the civilian world policy. But on that side, if you're using, like, if you try Anthony as an adult, does he have the same rights and privileges as an adult to protect himself under Texas law? This is going to be real interesting here. I mean, I don't know either one of these young men, but I think this is going to be a very interesting story, especially if you get a good attorney involved that know how to work the law. Uh, Carmelo Anthony's daddy didn't give a response. I think they reached out to him and he didn't say anything, at least now. But I was watching the news earlier and they said Carmelo Anthony's daddy said that his son had the right to protect himself, which he does. So, and when you think about this, you can tell it's dealing with two children who are childish. Because I would wonder why in the hell would Austin Metcalf not turn a blind eye to Carmelo Anthony since it was raining. That's what this report said. It said everybody at the track meet was kind of getting out of the rain, trying to get under some type of shelter. I've been at track meets before and football games where it was raining so hard everybody went and stood under the concession stand booth, or you went to the bathroom area where they might have had some type of covering. Even if you are at a sporting event that's not your home turf. So that's another factor that I think the court will consider. Because when I first heard this on the news and on social media, everybody kept making it seem like Carmelo was just going under Metcalf's tent to take a seat, and Metcalf was worried about Carmelo Anthony stealing something. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It has to be more to it. So when I found out that it was raining and basically Carmelo Anthony was trying to get out of the rain, okay, now it makes more sense. And then you got to factor in why in the hell is Austin putting his hands on somebody? Like I said, that's not your responsibility. You're not the teacher, my friend. You're not the track coach, and you're not a police officer. The proper thing for Metcalf was to go tell the authority, like I said earlier. And Carmelo could have, I mean, once the authoritative figure, the coach or the teacher, tells Carmelo Anthony to move, I think he would have been uh, forced to leave. And then if he had not complied, the proper thing for the teacher or the track coach would do is, hey, say, hey, come here, you got a student ID or something. Maybe call Carmelo Anthony's principal or his teacher or his coach and say, hey, this young man was under our tent. And then who knows, the authoritative figure, the coach or the teacher, might have told Austin to sit down and let the young man sit under the tent because it was raining. That's why you have to have that's the whole purpose of having teachers and coaches around to supervise children, even if they are teenagers. It's because this situation here is it's sad, it's foul. Uh, like I said, it's a bad thing. I feel sorry for both of the families. I mean, because they both are students. They both probably had promising futures. Uh, said Austin was probably going to college to play sports, and uh, said Carmelo was probably going to college too. So I mean, they were juniors in college. So like I said, man, they're young adults, man. I hate to see this thing play out like this, but it's not too much to analyze, no more than what we're getting offline. But like I said, from the fourth person perspective, I knew there had to be more to this story than what I saw floating around online. Which, when you bought the rain inside of it as a factor, and then the fact that Metcalf did put his hands on Carmelo Anthony, that's technically bullying, or from the law perspective, you assaulted this young man. And when he told you put your hands on him again, you did it again and he stabbed him. So I wonder, like I said, I wonder, is the court going to look at that like assault? And then I also have enough common sense to know that a student does not supposed to have a knife, which does not justify either one of their behavior. But if you remove the knife away from this equation, and Metcalf assaults Carmelo Anthony again, could Carmelo Anthony then go to the police or his teacher slash principal and say, hey, this young man just assaulted me? Would he been able to press charges? You see where I'm going with this? So it's a very interesting story. And I'm going to follow it because, like I say, I feel bad for both of these young men, two 17-year-old boys who had a bright future in front of both of them. Now, one's dead and one's got to go through the judicial system, and we don't know how that's going to turn out. But let me know what y'all think about this. This has been another great episode of Fourth Person Point of View, baby. I'm out.